Oh,
All right, so we just got word of what our round 2 feature match is going to be. We have Avi Petrol, who was our finalist in preliminary number 2 of season 1, and he's going to go against the Canadian hidden gem that is Matt Vanden Heuvel.
yeah. Matt and I actually attended the same locals for a really long time, so I've known him for a while, and he always brings his A game no matter where. He is so competitive that he will beat himself up over a game at locals.
Absolutely, he will beat himself hard for every loss he gets, and this man is relentless when he's on the dueling field. And I call him Canada's hidden gem because he's not really well known throughout the community, but yet he plays like a top tier player.
Well, he top 16 at Nats last year, didn't he?
Welcome to round 2.
I don't think he did last year, but he did the year before. He did in Chicago.
That was 2013. Yeah,
he did come. Yeah, he did come top 16 in Chicago that year with Dragons, and he was a stellar player.
Yeah.
I've seen him play.
And he just was fresh off our top 8 cut in Oshawa this week.
Yes, he did. He did top 8 the Oshawa regionals that we had just last month there. And we don't know what these two players are playing quite yet.
If I know Matt, he's probably playing a Shaddoll variant. He's been playing that deck ever since its inception.
Yes.
Either with the artifacts or at the regional, he was playing it with Burning Abyss.
So let's see if Matt can keep his Shaddolls running hard there, and if he's running it. And Avi, we don't know what he's running at. Relatively unknown for the most part in the Canadian meta. But clearly we know that he's done well for himself, at least around here. So Ivy's going to start the roll with a 6.
Oh, he must have missed the earlier
roll on Matt, but I'm going to guess Matt won the die roll. And he is going to start, and it looks like we have Bujins.
Oh,
surprise.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. We talked about Rogue. And there's a set monster. This has to be Shaddoll's.
This has to be Shaddoll. It looks like it. And the mannerisms just speak to Shaddolls. And
yeah.
And that's what we're getting here, folks. This is Bujins versus Shaddoll.
Oh, it's actually a Shaddoll Burning Abyss hybrid.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's what Matt Vanden Heuvel did run in Oshawa to get his top. He now switched to the Burning Abyss hybrid.
Oh, and there's that time space travel we talked about.
That's what Avi got off of this pot of duality here. So
that's going to get rid of those fusions or Dantes relatively quickly.
So let's see what happens.
Matt playing
Summon Jamato, classic play.
Yep. Matt playing a 46 card deck. Curious.
Streams it. Like, he was going to play Clayport today, but he wasn't sure. Like, he wasn't confident in that deck. Yeah. So he's like, I'm just going to play the Shadows. So okay. Adjusting for the game. Okay.
All right, and we see an end phase Wing Blast discarding. Oh, is that like Graph? It's a Graph to discard the Yamato before we can reach the end. Before Yamato gets a chance to activate, and now Graph will likely special summon a Skarm, which will destroy itself and in turn get him a tour guide for the next turn, or maybe even a Curry Bandit, as he is playing the variant. And Curry Bandit is so strong in this deck. It allows you to act as multiple cards all at once. If you mill a dragon, it's a Foolish Barrier on legs. If you can mill a beast, it's an Upstart Goblin as well.
And he indeed gets that Curry Bandit.
Yep.
So that's what he wants. He's got to be careful.
Curry Bandit is so strong because it forces your opponent to respond, or else you run the risk of hitting so many live cards that can just put your board position so much more further ahead.
Yeah, and if we can get to the player tendencies, we know that the other player doesn't really want to take that risk. I mean, if you're getting a card discarded in your hand, you'd just rather just veil the card rather than getting a risk of another card getting taken out of your hand. So we know that players generally don't like to leave it up to chance here. So let's see if Matt Vanden Heuvel can draw something out.
Yeah, he's not a man I've ever known to really gamble. So playing a deck with 3 Curry Bandits is a little out of his character.
It is, because Matt has so much confidence in his own skill, so it's quite uncharacteristic to see him play this kind of card, but who knows, he could very well do some damage even with it.
Oh, and here it comes.
That Curry Bandit's coming down.
Pokes for $1,000.
And he takes the risk of poking for 1,000 as well, and he scores with it.
Gambling everywhere. And here it goes.
There it goes, end phase. Let's take a look at it.
Oh, wait, so
let's go. Wing Blast. Falco.
Tour Guide. Is that a dragon?
That's a dragon.
Ooh.
So he's obviously has to take the wing blast, but the Falco dragon will trigger. So he's going to build his chain links to whatever he wants. So he's going to choose Dragon's chain link 2 and Falco chain link 1. And let's hit that time space.
That's a +2 off of one bandit. That is huge.
And he does have a Shaddoll in the grave, that being the dragon. So that Falco is not dead by any means.
Losing those 2 tour guys really stung, though.
It was a bit of a sting, but who knows? It could have played out for the best because of that power play he made. So here comes Yamato, fresh from the top of the deck, which we all know.
This is the best way to play.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, but what will he do here? Will he just simply go to his end phase and get a turtle?
That's a good question here, because we gotta wonder, what was that set monster he put down? It could be a Skarm, because it does have 2,000 defense, or it could be like a hedgehog. This is the danger of having to play against a Burning Abyss Shaddoll hybrid. You don't know what is set.
Yeah.
Do you really want to attack it or not? And I think Matt's maybe playing that to his advantage right now. As Avi seems rather hesitant to want to attack. Obviously, he doesn't want to attack that Falco right now.
Bujins have a seemingly poor matchup here because it's all a matter of guessing. You have to determine, is Turtle going to be the best play, or is Hare going to be the best play, or And meanwhile, Shaddolls are just going to sit there and accumulate resources. Well, you have to just guess.
Yep. And indeed attacked the Falco, and he did special summon the dragon. Probably because he doesn't want to be able to fill his graveyard with maybe a beast, which could in turn give him a bigger power play. So I can understand why he did that. So he dumps a turtle in the end phase, and he's going to pass it over back to Matt.
And that's going to prevent the dragon from returning the Yamato to his hand.
Yep, which he definitely doesn't know.
And if it forces him to attack, he's got the crane in hand to offset that.
He does, but does Matt know that, and can Matt anticipate that?
Yeah, well, we'll just have to wait and find out.
That's
when I play against Bujins, I just always assume they have the crane.
Yes, that's always a good assumption. Let them wear down their cranes as much as possible.
Oh, so the mystery card, it is a
dragon.
Another dragon.
Dragon will flip act and will target one of his back rows, and indeed Avi will shove that back to his hand. I think it could have been a wiretap. I think I may have saw a wiretap.
It's the lance, actually.
Is it the lance? No, I see that's a Bujin Carnation.
No, he's got 2 spells in his hand.
One of them's a Bujin Carnation.
Oh, so it was a Scar. Oh, and there's the beginning of the end.
So he flips up his Burning Abyss. It's hitting the graveyard. And then he plays the beginning of the end.
A card, a $1 card that shot up to $10 overnight.
Yes, the one that Mark Curtis used to help win him in the finals last time. And now it's being used here in Matt Banish 5.
To draw 3.
Disgusting game.
So many pluses. And those darks in his graveyard are all inconsequential. He's never going to use them later
on.
Oh, no. So, might as well get rid of them.
Get them? I doubt there's a soul charge in there. And now to follow up with this, let's see what he's got. He's got to have a play. And there's the glow bulb that we talked about much earlier, going to rank 5, probably in Armades, because he's not going to be able to use any of that crane. And this is a huge play here for Matt.
Now, Glow Bulb is another card that just came off the recently limited and forbidden list. A card that no one saw coming.
And now it's making its mark here today. So, before the battle phase goes, there's that compulsory evacuation device. So he did have the out, at least thankfully. But Matt Van Heuvel is just continue on unfettered.
And he doesn't play any artifacts in this version, so Sanctum will not be able to summon a Moral Talk to get rid of that.
No, not this time.
That untargetable effect to get rid of the Yamato. So he's going to have to work hard to really clear the Yamato off that board. Otherwise, he's just going to keep accumulating Bujins in his graveyard.
And looks like a end phase Skarm. I'm just going to search out. I believe it's a Seer. I can't.
That telegraphs that he's probably got a discard trap down.
He probably does. Well, we all know that he does have the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast from that Curry Bandit.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's wonder if.
But he might also have a Karma Cut or a Reki Break as well.
Yeah. So let's see if Avi here can remember that he does indeed have that Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. So Avi's turn now is coming up, and he's just pondering his play because Matt made quite a play for himself to be able to set himself up in wonderful position. And indeed, that was a wiretap that he did.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was a wiretap.
Yeah, I didn't catch it.
Yeah. He does have a Bujin Carnation in his hand. I don't know. I forget what he dumped exactly with that Yamato.
It was Turtle.
Turtle. So he's afraid.
So he's not. It's not live just yet.
But at least he can protect it in case he does get Wing Blast.
So
he's going to set, and he's going to go right to end phase.
It's curious that Matt would have got the seer to use the Wing Blast because he's got the turtle engrave. Like, what does he hope to achieve with that?
I don't know. So,
there goes another turtle.
So yeah, so he added a Mikazuchi to his hand with Yamato and dumped a turtle. Let's see if Matt has, and Matt does have a response, and he's going to spin that back row, which is the wiretap, I believe, and he did dump the seer, which will special summon. Looks like the Scarm.
Scarm, yeah.
Yep. So it was a seer, and Matt draws return, and Matt is just in a very comfortable position.
He has way too many cards over Abby right now.
Absolutely. Even though he knows that he's guessing that he probably has a crane in the hand.
That's why Shaddolls just, keep on coming back with a vengeance. They just keep accumulating free cards every single turn.
But with the addition of Burning Abyss, it really mixes up the gameplay. And
not a single fusion has hit the table yet, though.
No, not yet. It's still quite early in the game, though. This is Matt's third turn.
Matt's been known to never be able to draw his fusions. He always laments that after all of his games. I think we're going to see a Dante
but
here.
It seems he might be okay anyway, because he's still packing on the power here. So he summons the Graph, and he's going to exceed summon here.
See, a Dante wouldn't be a bad play, because if it does run into the crane, he's going to +3.
He's absolute floaters, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. Not a bad play at all. It's a great way to force out the crane, and it's a great way to get his floaters. So he's going to mill 3. There's El Shaddoll Fusion.
There's the El Shaddoll Fusion.
Regeki Break, and Curry Bandit hitting the grave. So not a bad play, even if he does crane.
No, because Dante's still going to go off, and the Graph is also going to activate as well.
No, and Matt has.
So Matt will actually be getting more cards out of this exchange than Abby.
Yeah, and clearly very happy, visibly happy with this play, and looks like he's going to swing away. He's thinking about it, but we're going to see.
I gave him the win, Booty. Sorry. Okay. I heard you picking this as a draft. I did. I gave him the win. Sorry, man. Sorry. I couldn't do it for you, bro. Still love. Still love. Always.
Right, Matt's just... Matt's undecided if he wants to... Oh, there, he just decided to make that attack.
There he goes. And now
we wait to see.
Now Abby has to suffer the decision of, do I have to play that crane? Do I want to play that crane? He gets so many pluses, and he does play that crane.
He was forced into a situation where he just had to.
And that's the unfortunate thing about Bujins right now, having to play in this kind of format.
Yeah, you're really risky play to take Bujins today.
Yeah, it really is, because even if he cranes over everything, usually the cards he's beating over are floaters, and they're just going to replenish themselves, if not replenish more, as we just saw here with the Dante, with both effects fresh, and he's getting both of them off.
Well, not only that, Bujins don't put multiple monsters on the board all at once.
No, they don't.
They usually stick with one at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, and
there's a Sinister Shadow Games.
Probably going to send
maybe a
Hedgehog, maybe? A core, so we can add El Shaddoll Fusion back to his hand.
Oh, tricky. There's that El Shaddoll Fusion.
And he's probably going to go for game here on the next turn. Oh, no, he's going to activate it right now.
He's going to activate it right now. It's still his battle phase,
That's true, yeah.
So he sends a Beast, and it looks to be a
Scar?
Scar?
No, it could have been another Graph.
It is another Burning Abyss.
Oh, it's a Seer.
It's a Seer. And that Seer's going to special summon the Dante from the graveyard. And he's going to draw with the Beast and continue his attack. He can't have another crane in his hand, and there's 22 right there. Wow. But he knew that he had a Mikazuchi.
And there's the Solemn Warning.
Oh no! He clearly telegraphed that play, and he's just going to continue on unfettered. And I can bet you that he's going to summon a Downer Magician.
If Matt had never milled that El Shaddoll Fusion, he would have not been able to reach such a dominating board state.
What a power play! And there we go.
Yeah.
Let's see El Shaddoll Fusion in action.
Able to just make that extra attack in the battle phase.
And there's the Scarm end phase searching for that.
And not only that, he draws for the Beast.
Yeah, they did. And so he chose not to go to Downer Magician, probably because of the high defense that Dante can pack. And it's still floater out there. And knowing visibly that really there's very little way that Abby can get rid of that.
Oh, there's no unlike a Burning Abyss mirror match or something like that, or even against Shaddoll's, there's no risk in leaving a Dante just sitting there.
No, it doesn't. Especially against Bujins too, because and the window on top of that, because he can't Bujin Carnation to be able to Castell into that.
Exactly.
So he's perfectly fine in a comfortable position, and we know that one of those set cards is a wiretap. So here comes the mathematician.
Abby, a dragon.
Yep.
I would assume.
And if you look
at
and if you look at the body language of Abby, he's twiddling his fingers. He's clearly unhappy, and he's going to get beat. And he loses the Bujin Carnation.
So we know the last card is the wiretap.
Yes. So he's revealing that information. He chose not to scoop it up, and well, this may come back.
Well, Matt's never seen the wiretap yet.
He's not.
So
he's not. But setting that Bujin Carnation knows that he's giving some info away. He's desperate clearly. So odds are that card is not going to help him, and we know it's a wiretap. above it all. So, but 1,000, 15, 22 equals 47, and that's not going to be enough to put him away. But he's got a Shaddoll fusion, and that's all that Abby needs to see, and that's it. Wow.
Vanden Heuvel just relentless.
And quite a dominating performance there by Matt Vanden Heuvel, showing why he says he's one of the best, and I honestly can't blame him.
Now, as both players dive into their side decks, let's get a little insight into what they might be bringing in here.
Okay.
Now, Matt sides 2 Monarch Stormforth, but doesn't side any other tribute monsters to go along with it. This is likely for his Shaddoll Beasts.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that would probably be a strong play going into this game, too, because it doesn't target.
It doesn't target.
It'll help him to get that Yamato right off the board.
Hair won't save it. Yeah, it's definitely something to consider, and in this case, it looks to be that way.
He's also
can't stop it.
siding 2 traps done, and a bottomless trap hole, which I think will be really beneficial
The bottom,
to him in this match.
absolutely, the bottomless trap will
Also, a
definitely
mind
help.
control. Now, that's hit or miss, because if you get it before the Bujin player gets a chance to finally drop their turtle, you're golden. But afterwards, it's a little bit dead.
Yes, and unless you can be able to somehow snare a non-Beast Warrior Bujin, it's probably not going to help him too much. But he might be able to use it as a bait, but I don't know if it's going to warrant that much help in this case, considering he's got so many other power cards he could possibly use. So I expect to see no mind control being sided in here.
And what is Avi going to be bringing in?
Avi looks well. He's got triple Shadow Mirror, which is which seems like a no-brainer in this case. He's also packing triple Mind Crush, which is probably not going to be used because that's going to trigger all of the Shaddoll effects and the Burning Abyss. He's got a Neospatian Gramble, which probably will come in because let's face it, bouncing a bunch of Shaddolls or Burning Abyss every turn is definitely going to help out. He's got a Cursed Seal with Forbidden Spell. That's just one copy. But
Likely for the clipboard matchup once again.
I can see that be used in this deck as well.
Because he's also playing Anti-Spell Fragrance.
He is indeed, but that's probably for the Coldford match.
Yeah, it's an interesting card that we didn't really touch upon earlier.
And 2 Fairy Wind to accompany that. So I doubt we're going to see that against him. He's also running 3 Chain Disappearance, but that's which he could side maybe 1 or 2 because he is going against a Burning Abyss hybrid.
My mistake. Matt's actually citing 3 Vanity's Fiend. I thought there were 3 Vanity's Emptiness.
Oh.
So that makes more sense as the Stormforth now.
That makes a little more sense.
No.
Not as peculiar as it once sounded.
See, I don't think he's going to bring the Feigns into this matchup, but the Stormforth can certainly do some detrimental damage.
Yes, I believe so. I wouldn't. Maybe he might tech in 1 Vanities just because it's a tribute monster, just to make it more alive.
And to outplay the Carnation.
Yep. So we're going to have to see here. If you're just joining us, Matt Vanden Heuvel has just taken game 1 over Avi Petrov. It is Bujins run by Avi versus a Shaddoll Burning Abyss by Matt Vanden Heuvel. So Avi's going to open up with the oh-so-familiar play of Bujin Yamato, setting 2 back row, and he's going to proceed to his end phase, most likely here. It looks like he's got a hare and a turtle in his hand.
Yeah, always a strong first turn from Bujins. But the only draw 5 on your first turn really worked against Bujins, I think.
It really did, because they're so reliant on being able to draw the Yamato to get that first turn. So it's a peculiar move that he decides to dump the turtle to get a Mikazuchi rather than go for the traditional crane. So
Turtle is a very strong play in this match because almost everything that Matt plays targets.
it is true, considering he does know that there are wing blasts floating around there.
It forces Matt to hit his back row, which will set him back, but at least it'll ensure that his Yamato stays alive.
But as we saw clearly last round, that wing blast did put in some good work.
Yeah, it's true.
It definitely slowed down Abby.
And if you look at his hand, I think he's already actually got a crane. I believe it's either a crane or a hare.
No, he
it's
has a hare.
Okay.
So he had a hare and a turtle in his opening turn and opted to dump the turtle over the hare.
Curious then how he didn't grab the crane then.
So it looks like he's going for the Shaddoll fusion.
Right off the bat. Shotgunning it right
as
there.
he sets a monster, of all things.
It's a strange sequence of plays, I think.
It absolutely is. So you got to wonder what that face down is. And why did he set it? Because it looks like he's making Squamata.
Why not just fuse directly from the hand?
Yeah, he chose not to do that.
Because instead of burning his normal summon now.
And he did. So he's going to go to the window. And the Chainlink 1 looks like it's going to be Falco. Chainlink 2 is going to be Squamata. Ooh.
And that's all nothing's happening there.
Unless
he's got a Typhoon in
not
his
something
hand.
you want to see there. And that's the importance here in my mind of Mystical Space Typhoon. You need that Typhoon to be able to successfully resolve your
And that's why I think, shotgunning the fusion right off the bat was a really bad play, because now he's -2 and he can't do anything about that fusion.
It is, and now he attacks, and there's a pulsar evacuation device.
And there's
but there's a super polymerization, which makes a lot more sense now.
But Matt's down so many cards at this point now.
He is, so he's got to find a way to get back, and he's not getting that Shaddoll fusion back from that window. So he discards the L Shaddoll fusion. He's going to get the construct. Is he going to activate the construct's effect? Yes, he will. And let's see, what is he going to dump exactly?
Fortunately, being light allows him to bypass that Shadow Mirror.
Yes, but what can he dump? But maybe a beast.
Yeah, I was
going to
say,
or
a
a core.
Okay.
That works.
I was thinking a beast just so he doesn't draw it later on.
Yeah, that's true. But a
But a
core
core will allow him to get his El Shaddoll fusion back.
He can get a card back,
And that'll potentially allow him to get more plays later on in the game.
So we're going to assume he swung for 28 there, because that was all in the battle phase. Or I guess he did not. Oh, and looks like Matt just clearly realized that I could have just attacked for 28 and didn't do it. That's the face of Matt, and he's just shaking his head and smiling about it, but he's like, dang, I really
you can get so caught up with the turn where so many chain links happen that you just forget that you had a battle phase.
We don't special summon a lot in the battle phase.
Yeah.
So there's the mathematician coming down here. I wonder he's probably gonna activate the effect, but to dump what exactly?
What does he not want to draw right now? He might send a Burning Abyss.
He might, or he could. Does he run Blockluster Soldier on right at the beginning? Because
he does not.
No, he does not. Because he could send a light monster if he chose to. So
I'm starting to wonder actually if he sided out his Burning Abyss engine.
Because
we're noticing a very heavy Shaddoll side.
This is true. We are seeing a lot of Shaddolls right now, and no sign of Burning Abyss at the moment.
Oh, looks like we might be waiting on a judge call right now.
Oh,
I don't know why.
We're waiting. Oh, looks like they want to know what they added with the Yamato. Just in case you didn't know what they added with the Yamato, he added a Mikazuchi and dumped the turtle. If you're wondering what he added and dumped. Looks like we do have a judge call because both players are remaining motionless here for the most part. Just look like they're just waiting. And it looks to seem that way right now.
I don't see what possible ruling could be coming up here.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, actually, looking at the light point count, it looks like Matt did attack.
Oh, it does look like it. It looks like he's just late to the charge.
Maybe he realized he had a better play. Maybe Kenneth needed a couple minutes to catch up.
Maybe. There seems to be a little bit of discussion over there with the judge right now, seeing what's going on. So we're just gonna wait and see what happens here. And what is this all about?
Shadow Mirror is doubly efficient against Matt if he decides to keep both engines in, because it just shuts down almost his entire deck at this point.
He risks the attacks with the mathematician and scores another 28 on top of that. And there's the El Shaddoll fusion. He's got no more of this. No more of this.
He's got a Shekinaga in his extra deck.
Exactly, the Shekinaga. Wow. And there it is, El Shaddoll fusion coming into play even
not once,
with the
but
Shadow Mirror. Twice, yeah. Twice to score the striking blow.
Both in the battle phase, no less.
Absolutely. So there we are. We already see the power of El Shaddoll fusion already here. And Matt Vanderheuvel takes a very easy 2-0 victory over here over Avi Petrov. So